Music. Hi, I'm Kyle Kettleson with MedCircle, joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani. Dr. Ramani, thanks for having me, Kyle. Always glad to discuss these important topics. Today, we're diving into the 4 subtypes of borderline personality disorder, or BPD. Dr. Ramani, BPD isn't one size fits all. It shows up in very different ways, which can be confusing for everyone involved. Understanding these subtypes is key to better support and treatment. Dr. Ramani, let's start with the high-functioning, internalizing, or quiet subtype. One that often goes unnoticed. Let's break it down. This subtype can be hard to spot. On the outside, these individuals seem successful and put together. They often excel in their careers, especially in helping professions, but inside, they're struggling with intense self-criticism and fear of abandonment. Instead of lashing out, they turn their pain inward, blaming and criticizing themselves. The suffering is silent. They may appear strong, but inside, they're battling shame, worthlessness, and even suicidal thoughts. Their self-destructive behaviors are subtle: overworking, self-neglect, or sabotaging relationships. Co-occurring depression or anxiety is common, and these often get diagnosed before anyone realizes BPD is present. They might get treatment for depression or anxiety, but the core issues, identity, emotion regulation, and fear of abandonment, remain. Their professional life may look stable, but personal relationships are often chaotic due to their constant fear of being left. They might cling to people or push them away, always bracing for rejection. The emotional toll is immense and their pain is often invisible to others. If someone seems high-functioning but is deeply unhappy and has unstable relationships, look deeper. Recognizing the quiet nature of their struggle is the first step to getting them the help they need. It's about hearing the silent scream and offering validation and specialized support. Let's move to the next subtype. Now let's talk about the petulant subtype, much more outwardly expressive. This subtype is marked by attention-seeking and low frustration tolerance. When they feel ignored or invalidated, their reactions can be dramatic. They might act out, become irritable, or display explosive anger. There's a strong need to be the center of attention, and they may use guilt or passive-aggressive tactics to get their needs met. The core fear is still abandonment, but they try to control people and situations to avoid it. Their behavior can be confusing, charming one moment, then suddenly upset or demanding. Others may feel like they're walking on eggshells, never sure what will trigger a reaction. They often externalize blame, seeing themselves as victims and struggling to recognize their own role in conflicts. Their attention-seeking can be risky, creating crises or exaggerating problems to get a response. No amount of attention ever feels like enough, leaving them empty and unsatisfied. It's easy to misinterpret this as simple drama, but it's really a desperate attempt to avoid feeling invisible. Underneath, there's immense pain and fear of being alone. Recognizing the fear behind the behavior is key to compassion and effective support. Let's look at the next subtype. This is the subtype most people associate with BPD, the angry impulsive type. Here, anger and impulsivity dominate. Triggers like perceived rejection or abandonment lead to explosive outbursts. Instead of turning pain inward, they lash out yelling, breaking things, or making threats. They often blame others for their feelings, which damages relationships and creates a cycle of conflict. Impulsivity can be dangerous: reckless driving, substance abuse, or risky behavior. These acts are attempts to release unbearable tension, but they usually make things worse. This subtype can be confused with bipolar mania, but BPD outbursts are triggered by relationships, not just mood swings. Living with someone like this can be exhausting and frightening, leading to burnout and broken relationships. Sometimes the threat of rage is used to control others and prevent abandonment. It's a desperate attempt to avoid being left, but it often drives people away. Despite the challenges, this subtype is treatable. Therapies like DBT teach emotion regulation and safer ways to manage anger. With patience and the right support, change is possible. Now, let's discuss the final subtype. The last subtype is the depressive, internalizing, or self-destructive type. Here, the person is overwhelmed by chronic emptiness and hopelessness, making daily life a struggle. Unlike the quiet subtype, their depression is constant and deeply impairs their ability to function. They may seem listless and unable to feel pleasure, often withdrawing from work, relationships, and self-care. The risk for self-harm and suicide is high, especially after perceived abandonment. Their actions are driven by a belief that they're a burden or fundamentally broken. They're often misdiagnosed with depression, but treating only the mood symptoms doesn't address the underlying BPD. Their identity can become fused with suffering, making it hard to break the cycle. Self-destructive behaviors aren't always about suicide. They might include self-injury, substance abuse, or staying in harmful relationships. These are desperate attempts to feel something or punish themselves. Clinicians should look for BPD markers when depression is severe and treatment-resistant. Effective treatment addresses both the depression and the core BPD symptoms, often with long-term therapy like DBT. Recovery is possible with the right support. These 4 subtypes aren't official diagnoses, but they help us understand the diversity of BPD. One person might be high-achieving but suffering silently, while another can barely get out of bed. That's why a one-size-fits-all approach to BPD doesn't work. Recognizing the subtype helps tailor treatment and build a stronger therapeutic alliance. It's important to see beyond stereotypes and understand the full spectrum of BPD. Awareness leads to compassion and better outcomes. I'm Kyle Kettleson. Whatever you're going through, you got this.